week 5 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few kickers. I have his sleepers this week. The first guy, Ka'im Fairbairn of the Houston Texans. So he's flown under the radar this season here as Fairbairn. And his worst game's been 8 fantasy points. So right now he's getting opportunities. This Texan team, they've settled for a decent amount of field goals this season. But they got a decent offense led by C.J. Stroud that gets in position. They get in the red zone a decent amount. And Fairbairn's been a consistent kicker for many seasons here with this Texan team. So the last few games for him, week 2 versus the Colts 8, week 3 at Jacksonville 13, week 4 versus Pittsburgh 12, and this week here, more good news for Fairbairn. It's an indoor game once again at the Atlanta Falcons, and this game could be a potential shootout in a way, even though I know the Falcons offense, besides the run game with Bijan Robinson and Algier, hasn't done anything this season, but just saying this Houston Texan team, the last 2 games, they put up 30 or more points, so this week, I think more opportunity once again here for Fairbairn. And if you're desperate for a kicker, now 92% of fantasy leagues. Next kicker is Graham Gano of the New York Giants. So this Giant team, it's been tough scoring for them this season, where they really haven't put points on the board this season, besides that one game at the Arizona Cardinals, where they came back and won with 31 points in that. They've only scored 15 points in the 3 games this season. So right now, Graham Gano, he's getting an opportunity. I know last season he had a decent amount double-digit fantasy games. I know this season he hasn't. 7, 9, and 5 the last 3 weeks here for Graham Gano. But right now, this week, they're going to have to put points on the board in Miami. Obviously, a great kicker's atmosphere with good weather usually over there. And the Dolphins do give up the 9th most fantasy points to kickers on the season. So right now, Gano available in 90% of fantasy leagues. And we know he's got one of the better boots in the league where he could kick from 50+ pretty easily. And the Giants need points and get off to a good start this week. So right now, he's a sleeper for me. And the third and final kicker I have as a sleeper is Matt Prater of the Arizona Cardinals. So Matt Prater this season, his worst games have been 4 fantasy points. But besides that, it's been 9 or more fantasy points for him. And this week, a good matchup back home for this Arizona Cardinal team versus Cincinnati Bengals that give up the 4th most fantasy points to kickers on the season. So the last few games here for Prater, week 2 versus the Giants 9, week 3 versus Dallas 13, and week 4 at the 9 is 4. So this week here, I think we're going to see opportunities for this Arizona Cardinal team. This Bengal defense at times is a bend but don't break defense, and then at times like last week they got shredded losing 27-3 at the Tennessee Titans. So Matt Prater, I know he's a veteran kicker. He's been around for a decade plus obviously here, but he's still got a big boot. It's a home game indoors, which is always a plus. And if you're desperate for a kicker, I think he's a decent sleeper option this week, available in 96% of fantasy leagues. That's a few kickers I have as sleepers here for week 5 of the fantasy football season.